What's up, traders? You're listening to episode 74. I'm Aaron Fifield, and thanks for being here. My guest this week is John Walsh, aka the Black Cabbie Trader. The backstory of John: in 2012, he entered a competition, the City Index Trading Academy, which was a group of people with very little market experience to see how well they would perform over the span of 5 weeks. John came out on top and won £100,000 in prize money. He's of course continued trading ever since and has developed into quite the trend/position trader, focused on US equities and makes simplicity an absolute top priority. He's also a black cab driver in London, which you'll hear more about very shortly. In this episode, we chat about the competition, John's trading methodology, and why you've got to stay out of your own way, as John puts it. If you're enjoying the podcast and if it's helped you in any way, I have a very small favour to ask. Please leave a brief iTunes review. It's such a huge help. So if you can help, just go to chatwithtraders.com/iTunes. It'll take you all of about 2 minutes. Thank you. Okay, you're listening to the Chat with Traders podcast. Here is an interview with John Walsh. All right, John, and we are rolling. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Aaron. How are you?
I am doing just fine. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. It's really great to be speaking with you.
No worries. Thank you for having me on. You know, I'm very pleased to be on. Hopefully people get something from it. And obviously you've had some big hitters before, so I'm honoured to be among the illustrious group.
I'm sure they will. So how's your day been? You keeping busy?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, you know. I trade US markets, and I'm obviously in London, so I have to wait until the evenings over here before I can do my homework and scanning charts. But as you know, I'm a black cab driver by trade, so I do a few hours in the cab during the day, keep myself busy. And so weather's increasing, getting a bit better over here. So yeah, no, things are good.
Very good, very good. All right, well, we'll dig into that all a lot more in just a bit, but let's start off with talking about how you first developed an interest in markets and more specifically trading. So where did everything kick off for you?
Well, it started really, Aaron, from when I was a child, like in my teenage years, really. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche. I've heard a lot of people say that they followed the stock prices in the newspaper. I did all that. I used to cut them out each day, and I used to have a pile of newspaper clippings of old stock prices. But in reality, I had no idea what moved the price up or down. I didn't know about charting or anything like that. It was very basic. I used to follow tickers and was interested in the company names. And from that, it just went up. And I just started to read some books and stuff, and I just started to love it, really. But I hadn't actually started trading just yet. It was just like just a hobby in the background that I just kept an eye on.
Okay, cool. So, John, I know you went on to going into, what did you do? You went into a competition, but prior to the competition, which we'll talk about more in just a bit, what was your experience with trading before entering?
Well, Aaron, this is the thing. I literally had no trading experience at all. I mean, I did a bit of like paper trading, as you would call it. I used to look on Google Finance, and I built up a little paper portfolio of stocks. But it was just really, it wasn't even technical or fundamental. It was just I used to read about stocks, put them on a list, watch them go up, watch them go down, and I used to just follow it like that. But no actual real trading experience at all.
Okay, got it. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the competition. I mean, that's kind of how you got a bit of a name for yourself in the UK especially. So how did you hear about the competition? What motivated you to try out? And what even was the competition?
Well, it was called the City Index Trading Academy. I don't know if some of your listeners will be aware or not. City Index is a broker in the UK. And it's funny, a lot of people ask this, how did I get involved? I literally do not remember. I must have been looking at some kind of trading-related website, and I saw an advert, and I literally just put my name and email address in. They said they'd get back contact with you in a couple of weeks or so, and I thought, well, I'll see if they get back to me, and they did, and we had to do like a phone interview because they wanted to talk to you and make sure you could do what they required from you, and then they wanted people with no experience as well, so I fitted that category, and so I did the phone interview, and then I think they had about 500 applicants sign up online. Then they whittled that down from the phone interview down to 80, and then we had to go for a live interview, which they whittled that down from 80 down to 12, and then for the final 12, we had to do 2 days filming at the City Index offices, and out of the 12 they whittled that down to 8, and we were the final 8, and then the competition started.
Okay. So what was the whole sort of concept, the idea of the competition?
Right, so the whole concept behind the idea was literally taking 8 people off the street with little or no trading experience at all, teach us how to trade effectively, what a lot of people would say was the right way, like a combination of technical and fundamental analysis. We would talk candle charts, candle patterns, how to read like fundamental news, and how to put it all together into a trading plan. And from that, we just learned a good basic foundation and framework to trade, and we was off and running.
Okay, interesting. So what were some of the questions that they asked you? Like, what was the screening process like? You said that you went to a couple interviews. What were some of the questions that they wanted you to answer?
Oh yeah, so we'd sat down and they literally hit us straight away. Like on the day I went for my interview, but as soon as I sat my bum on the chair, they said to me like, "What did the FTSE close yesterday?" And to be honest with you, I didn't have a clue because I really had no idea. And they asked me what sort of, I think they asked me the price of oil closed in the previous day. And also they asked me just to give them a financial story that I'd read in the paper. So, but they just basically wanted to make sure that you had an inkling and an interest in trading primarily, because they just wanted to make sure that people were interested in the subject matter at least. Because I've got to remember there was £100,000 prize money up as well, so it was taken very serious, and a lot of people did follow it in the UK at the time.
Okay, and what was like? I mean, it kind of sounds like you just saw this opportunity and you just sort of decided, I'll put my name in, I'll put in my email, and if I get it, I get it. And you did get it, but did you have any real desire to become a trader, like make a career out of it?
Absolutely. I mean, when the interview process was going on at the time, I was doing the knowledge to become a London black cab driver. I'm not too sure if you know what the knowledge is. It's a studying process you have to go through to become a cab driver in London. And the plan always was, because it takes up a lot of time, to study the knowledge, become a cab driver, and then because being a cab driver, I'm my own boss, I could then learn to trade afterwards. But because how things ended up transpiring with the competition with me winning it, I ended up being sort of catapulted into learning how to trade. Then I became the cab driver afterwards, and that is how the Black Cabbie Trader came about. It all sort of come together at once.
Okay. So let's just go off on a side tangent here. What is the knowledge? Because I know the whole cab driving thing is taken very seriously in London. So what is the knowledge?
Right, so the knowledge is basically you've got to learn the centre of London is Charing Cross train station. Now you've got to learn the 6 mile radius of that, and they say it's about 20,000 streets, and you have to learn all what they call points of interest, which is essentially anything that anyone can come up to you and ask you to take them to, i.e. train stations, police stations, museums, theatres, absolutely anything you can think of, statues, and you have to do that, and it's a process, and you just do your best. You have a lot of oral exams. You literally go into a room with an examiner, and they literally ask you 4 questions, take me from A to B, and you have to do what they call it. So I have to say left into so-and-so street, right into so-and-so street, cross this roundabout, left into this street, right into that road, and you have to get them there. And then it's a long old process. I'm very proud of it, and eventually I got through it. But fortunately, I'd learned to trade before I finished that, so I got to hit the ground running with both.
Right, that's really full on. So you're not allowed to use any GPS?
No GPS. No, it's all done by memory, and you just look. You look at basically a flat laminated map of London, and you use like a watermarker to pen in the line, because you have to go as straight as you can. Essentially, they call it on the cotton, which is basically you put a cotton string from one end of the route to the other, and you try and call it as straight as you can. So left, right. No going up major roads and then just chucking the left. You got to use all the intricate routes you can.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it was a busy time.
So where does that fit in your life today? You still do, a few hours cab driving each day?
Well, yeah, exactly. So because I trade the US markets, as I said in London, they don't open till the afternoon. So I get up early in the morning, I go out like 7, 8 in the morning, 2 or 3 times a week, do a few hours, come back in the afternoon, sometimes before the US market opens, sometimes it's not just yet, but I've done all the homework the night before. And then I watch the open, but I've said on Twitter, sometimes, a lot of the time, the market opens and I do nothing because I'm a position trader. Everything's very automated in respects to moving the stops. I don't, unless I'm actually opening new trades, there's not much for me to do. So I just watch it and I love it.
So it keeps you occupied during the day. It's excellent.
Exactly, and I'm always I'm on Twitter and stock twits. I'm reading articles and I'm talking to people and I'm answering emails. And I'm reading trading books. So I'm just trying to immerse myself in it, really.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's get back to the competition. I really want to dig into this a little more.
Yeah, no worries.
Why do you think they chose you? I mean, like you said, there was a lot of entries to get into this competition. Why do you think they chose you? Is there anything that stands out?
Well, I actually did ask them this question after it was all over, and they just said that they could see I was hungry. They could see I was really. I mean, I'm a competitive person in nature, and I really was keen to win. I mean, even if there was £100 prize money, I'd have still done my best to win because it was over 5 weeks, 5 trading weeks, and I won 3 out of the 5 weeks. I finished second 1 week, and the week I didn't, I finished in the bottom 3. No one made any money, and they just saw something that I was really keen. I was so pleased to get to the final, sort of almost the final selection process, and they just loved my enthusiasm, and they thought I was going to be good, and it ended up being that they were quite pleased with how I performed, and it all finished with quite a bang at the end with my final trade, and it was all exciting. A lot of people followed it, so yeah, they were pleased with the result, and obviously I was too.
Right. Okay. So what were you? I guess what I want to ask is, what were you taught? Like, what was the training like, or were you just kind of sort of set free? Like, was there any process that you went through right at the beginning? Like maybe in the first week they put you through some sort of program. Was there anything like that?
Yeah, there was. That's correct. Yeah, there was. Well, I mean, we used to go to their office every day at the beginning. We had a lot of seminars, and we were basically taught technical analysis 101, like basic candle charting. I mean, literally what the wick on a candle looked like, stuff like that. But then it went into technical analysis, all the like stochastics, moving averages, chart patterns, and like everything you could almost think. Even very advanced for a beginner, because we literally, some of us had never even opened a trade. Some of them had, but they wasn't even that experienced. But it was literally overkill. But it was done in such a way you couldn't help but not take it in. And because it was for a competition, everyone was keen to listen and not miss out. So you just sort of like became a sponge. And I still use a lot of what I learned then today.
Okay. So I think there were 2 sort of key mentors who were giving you some sort of guidance throughout the whole competition. Who were the 2 mentors?
Yeah, that's correct. That's James Chen from the States. He came over. I mean, I think he lived in London at the time during the competition. He's known in the States as a chartered technician. He's wrote a few books. And also Ashraf Laidi, who's a very well-known person in the UK and even the world. He does Bloomberg and CNBC and stuff like that. And he's wrote another person who's wrote another couple of books. But it wasn't just the webinars. We had them on 24-hour call. You know, we'd get emails and phone calls, and they were really, because during the competition there was a live P&L table, so they could see and we could see how everyone was doing, and it was really engrossing. And they were really good guys, and they gave us a lot of good advice. Also, not just about the technical part, but also the psychological part. Don't panic if you're having a bad day and stuff like that. It wasn't just about that. It was because some of us had never traded before, so we didn't know how to handle losses and if things were going not the way they should have done. So it was a lot of aspects that, I mean, to be fair, it was a real baptism of fire, actually. I'm fortunate that I got in hindsight. It was a very stressful time. I hardly slept for 5-6 weeks. But afterwards, when I look back, I was really fortunate.
Okay. And just so we're clear, whose money were you trading? I presume it was probably who was it, City Index?
Yeah, sitting there. So the thing was, we was talking at the start amongst ourselves, the traders. We were saying it was some kind of demo account, but coming to the end of the last few weeks, and we started making some money. We wasn't completely convinced it was demo because they were taking it a little bit too. I mean, I know it was a serious business. I mean, regardless if it was demo or not, the winner on the last week was going to get 100 grand. But there was some real interest, and so I'm not convinced it was demo, but it may have been. But then again, it could have easily been real money, and it was. I mean, we treated it as it was so.
Yeah, yeah. So how much money were you allocated at the beginning, and did that like sort of increase over the weeks or decrease?
Yeah, it did. So the first week we was given 5,000 each, and I mean, because it was we didn't know what we was doing essentially, and it was all very nervous, and we was dipping our toe in here and there. I don't think, honestly, we did as well collectively as they thought we was gonna. So they kept it at the second week as 5 grand, and then every week after that, it accumulated even more. And then in the final week, we traded 100 grand account.
Okay.
For the finale.
Right, that's a big jump up.
Yeah, it was.
So what sort of style of trading did they promote, and what products were you trading?
Well, see, as I've spoken to you previously in previous conversation, that over in the UK we have something called spread betting, which I'm sure some of your listeners from the UK will know what that is. So it's a leveraged product, and you trade it basically £1 or whatever it is per point. So, for instance, if you bought Apple, just say it was $100, and you did £1 a point, for every cent it went up, so every dollar it went up, you'd make £100. So, and you can trade anything. You can trade FX, commodities, stocks.